Sunday was always a busy day for Joshua. He conducted a long service, though Kabonyi sometimes helped him. But Kabonyi was a much less compelling preacher than Joshua, who seemed to preach with a conviction arising from deep down in the heart. Prayer and singing followed. After the service was over and still more meetings in the ridges, sometimes Joshua had to make journeys into the country from ridge to ridge. One Sunday, he conducted a particularly long service. When it was over, he felt exhausted. Only the week before, he had been to Syriana with Kabonyi to discuss the recent developments. Syriana was far off and they had made the journey on foot. Now he felt so worn out, especially after his sermon, that he did not wait for the usual prayers and singing outside the small Makuyu church. He found his wife Mariamo and went home with her. Nyambura, who never waited for the singing outside, was a few yards ahead. Muthoni was not there. They came home. She was not there either. There was nothing unusual in this. Muthoni often remained behind chatting with villagers. Nyambura, however, knew that today she had not left Muthoni behind, and she was surprised when she did not find her at home. In the evening, Muthoni did not appear. Nyambura's heart beat fast. She became restless and walked about in front of the house, trying to sing, but really watching for Muthoni. When she went back inside, her heart sank when she saw the calm face of her mother. Joshua was resting in bed. Nyambura was worried at heart and dreaded the moment when Joshua would ask for Muthoni. Joshua did not allow his children out late. He was now more strict because initiation songs were going on. He would not want his children to be contaminated by them. It was perhaps lucky that he had gone to bed earlier than usual. "I wonder where Muthoni is," Mariamu asked, slightly puzzled. She was a peace-loving woman and she never liked unnecessary tension in the house. Her injunction to her children was always, "Obey your father." She did not say it harshly or with bitterness. It was an expression of faith, of belief, of a way of life. Your father says this, and she expected his children to do that without fuss, without resentment. She had learned the value of Christian submission, and she thought every other believer had the same attitude towards life. Not that she questioned life. It had given her a man, and in her own way, she loved and cared for him. Her faith and belief in God were coupled with her fear of Joshua, but that was religion and it was the way things were ordered. However, one could still tell by her eyes that this was a religion learned and accepted. Inside, the true Gikuyu woman was sleeping. Nyambura kept quiet. She did not know what to say. Before she could make up a suitable answer, her father called out for Muthoni. He always called for Muthoni when he wanted something. Nyambura and Miriamu looked at one another as if they had just discovered Muthoni was missing. Nyambura then jumped up as if going to look for Muthoni, but she only wanted to be away from her father's fury. Muthoni had not told Nyambura that she would go. She had just slipped away from the church. Nyambura, however, had not forgotten that morning scene at the river, even though it was a number of months back. When she came back into the house, she found Joshua standing near Miriamo, glaring hard at her. "I tell you again, you know where your daughter is. Go out and look for her." Night was coming. Nyambura stood at the door, cowering there. The pot on 3 stones was boiling over. Miriamo went out. This is what it meant to be a mother. It meant bearing on one's shoulders all the sins and misdeeds of the children. She went about looking in all the huts where Muthoni was likely to be. She did not find her. She came back and found Nyambura had removed the pot from the fire. Joshua and Nyambura had not exchanged a word. Joshua had not bothered to ask Nyambura of her sister's whereabouts. Perhaps his anger had blinded him. He flew at Mariamu. "Did you find her?" Miriamu said nothing. "Go back and find her. She cannot sleep out." Miriamu hesitated. Where was she to go? She felt that Joshua was being unreasonable, but she did not know how to tell him. not being given to arguments. For the moment, Nyambura experienced the torture of a soul torn between two loyalties with fear in front. Should she let out Muthoni's secret? What if Muthoni returned? But, Mariamu was stammering. Nyambura could bear it no longer. She had tried her best to keep her unspoken promise to Muthoni. Perhaps she has gone to my aunt, she timidly suggested. Better she had kept silent. Joshua almost jumped at her. What? Your aunt? To what? Tell me at once. Nyambura cawed under his outburst, but she showed hesitation and she kept off the moment of revelation by saying, I think she has gone to my aunt at Kameno. To do what? There was no help for it. She looked at the door, ready to run, as she gathered her courage to say the one ominous word. Circumcision. What? To be circumcised. Before she could run out, Joshua was on her. He glared at her, shaking her all the time. He was almost mad, and small foams of saliva could be seen at the sides of his mouth. How do you know? Who told you? Nyambura was beside herself with terror. She thought that he would beat her. All of a sudden, Joshua released her. He let out a very small sigh. Nyambura detected in it pain and torment. She felt pity for him. Slowly, he went back to the fireplace and sank down on a stool. He looked like a beast of prey experiencing defeat and humiliation for the first time. He realized that he was growing old. Then, in a measured, lifeless voice, he said, For once, I give you permission to go to Kameno. Go to that woman you call aunt. Tell Muthoni to come back. If she agrees, we shall forget everything. If she does not, then tell her she ceases to be my daughter. He went back to bed. Silence fell in the house after Joshua had announced this. Miriamu did not speak. She too had been shocked into silence by Muthoni's action, which seemed to have no explanation and to stem from no motivation. She loved Muthoni and she did not want to lose her. She knew Joshua meant what he said. Tears began to run down her face. As they fell, they shone, lit by the dying embers in the fire. Sometimes the fire would flicker, creating distorted shadows across the mud walls. The formless shadows moved and wavered in a mocking manner. On the following day, Nyambura brought the sad news that Muthoni had refused to return home. Joshua sat still as he listened to this. Already he felt ashamed for being caught last night by the devil unawares. He had now prayed, asking for strength never to be caught again in slumber. But this news was hard for him. For a man who had walked in the paths of righteousness, he remembered Job and thanked God. From that day, Muthoni ceased to exist for him in his heart. She had brought an everlasting disgrace to him and his house, which he had meant to be an example of what a Christian home should grow into. All right, let her go back to Egypt. Yes, let her go back. He, Joshua, will travel on to the New Jerusalem.